Greetings, friends, and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Desert Sun's Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere J.R. Avon blur away from the Birds home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer. Fourth season of CB Firebirds hockey, fourth season in the playoffs, fourth season in turn of the Fire and Ice podcast. And what a season it has become, friends. I'd be bearing the lead. We didn't recognize instantly the Birds come back again and again and again and again. That counts 4 times. Birds now 4-0 in elimination games in these Calder Cup playoffs, and they get it done. Down 1-2 in the series versus a very good top-seeded Ontario Reign team. Birds go into Ontario, of course, this past Saturday night. Double overtime thriller. Awesome pass from the kid they call Juggy Tyson Jugnoth, about 100-foot pass off the boards. Finds a streaking J.R. Avon, puts a move on Eric Portillo, and the Birds are onward. The Birds extended the season for the third time in 4 years now in the third round of these Calder Cup playoffs, where CB moves on to the division finals this week upcoming, facing a very good Colorado Eagles team. Gonna get into it. Gonna break it all down on this episode of the Desert Sun's Fire and Ice podcast, but let us first recognize who will soon be joining us. Interesting format we have not before tried on Fire and Ice across 4 seasons of this program. It is a there's a hyphen in there. It's a semi-media roundtable, not just featuring yours truly and our friends from the Desert Sun, Andrew John and Shad Powers, but joining the roundtable will be CB forward John Hayden. You can pepper him with all manner of questions coming from 3 different sides. Look forward to that upcoming. In the interim, let us look at those who make this show go. The Desert Sun newspaper, informing our valley since yonder 1927. DesertSun.com. That's your spot for news, politics, local events, festivals, fun, Firebirds, and for those also paying attention to the local sports scene and DesertSun.com. I digress. But not just hockey, also hoops soon to happen at Acrisure Arena. We will welcome the Los Angeles Lakers G League team, now to be known as the Coachella Valley Lakers. But that's basketball. This is hockey time. And also, because of our desert bounty and where we live, it's also turf time. Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, home to the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. Get those tee times online at desertwillow.com. I know those boys, I know those gals over there at Desert Willow. They're going to these Firebirds playoff games. Some of it is sporting passion. Some of it, of course, is proximity. Desert Willow, a mere 1.5 miles away from the Birds Ice of Acrisure Arena. You know I love the good putt-to-puck segue. Go tee it up at either the Mountain View or Firecliff courses, or heck, go play 36. Play them both, and then skate it right down Cook, over to Varner, bang. You're at a Firebirds playoff game versus the Colorado Eagles. More on that schedule upcoming. And that segues us to this Firebirds freeze frame segment. We'll get into the stats, the schedule, much, much more. Firebirds freeze frame segment, mind you, has a great new sponsor or sponsors this year, because you know, friends, that ice action isn't limited to Acrisure Arena alone. Hockey fans seeking some pregame drinks, post-game toasts, you need only look up to the high desert, where our Firebirds friends at both the 29 Palms Beer Company and the Ground Squirrel, that's GRND SQRL. They're both serving up some awesome eats and incredible beers in downtown 29 Palms. Ground Squirrel, of course, I've told you this, sports an awesome gastropub-style scratch-made menu, and they pair that with a rotating list of craft beers. You're up there, you want to seek a potent power play, hey, you skate it right on down the street to the 29 Palms Beer Company. They're brewing up their own phenomenal beers right on site, and wait for it, this is key, they are televising every Firebirds playoff game, or during the regular season, just every Firebirds game. But right now, we specify playoff games. You can watch them, home or away, at the 29 Palms Beer Company. Look, you're a desert local, you're seeking a fun new scene, you're a desert guest visiting here in the shoulder season, where it's fun, it's funky, it's a little bit cooler. up there in the high desert. You might be exploring Joshua Tree, playing cowboy in Pioneer Town. Hey, you might be celebrating a Birds win, drowning your sorrows perhaps after a tough loss. Either way, you lace up the hospitality in 29 Palms, where both the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company, those are proving your high desert hockey homes. All right, the nitty and the gritty, friends. There are a mere 8 teams left in these AHL Calder Cup playoffs. And again, the Firebirds are one of them. After a one-year hiatus, I guess, from this Elite Eight, the Birds are back and doing so in dramatic fashion. Again, as mentioned at the outset, didn't want to bury it, staving off elimination 4 times across these that stat is just mind-boggling to me. They've played 8 games. They've staved off elimination 4 times. Of course, Birds fell in the playoff opener to Bakersfield, came back home to Palm Desert to win the double dip, get to the second round, split the first 2 with Ontario, only to lose a very tough and well-played third game. Birds then got it done in Game 4 versus the Reign at home, hit the I-10, back on the road to Ontario. Went to that game with friend and colleague Andrew John, who we will hear from shortly. And it was an intense night. It was a stressful night. It was a pretty filled arena. It was a buoyant arena. It was an arena that was ready to see victory. It was an arena, and I don't like to use the word deserve often in hockey or in life, dudes, but I think it was a fan base in an arena that felt after the 4th best point total, 4th best record season in the AHL this year, that their Reign were deserving of moving on to the 3rd round of the playoffs. Firebirds, of course, had something to say about that. There's a lot of stats, there's a lot of box score, but there is something about this Firebirds team, and I so look forward to speaking with John Hayden and the Desert Sun gents about an intangible, something that is tough to put a finger on, whether it be compete, whether it be heart, whether it be soul, whatever you want to call it. I've used the word magic before on this program. I hesitate just yet to use that word again now, but we're seeing something particularly unique and special about this group, from these boys, from this room. There is a real sense of belief, and after staving off elimination 4 times in a mere 2 series, the boys got to believe that they can compete again, that they can win again as they enter the Pacific Division Finals against a very good Colorado Eagles squad. The schedule plays out thusly, my friends. Game 1, it is a 2-3 format, best of 5. Game 1 this Wednesday night at Acrisure Arena, May 18th, 7 p.m. puck drop. Game 2 follows this Friday night, the 15th of May, also a 7 p.m. start. Series then shifts to Colorado, Game 3 taking place this Sunday, May 17th, 5 p.m. Pacific time at Colorado. We can move now into the asterisks, which I think I finally got that word mastered. Game 4 would be, if needed, next Wednesday, May 20th, 6 p.m. Pacific time start. Game 5 asterisk, if needed, would also be played in Colorado. That is next Friday, May 22nd. It would be a 6 p.m. start time. Over the course of the season, Birds fared well against the good Eagles team. From our lens, Birds went 4-4 across the 8 games played, if my Minnesota math is correct. Colorado might look at it from a slightly different lens, since a couple of the Birds' wins, or inversely, Colorado's losses. One came via a shootout win for the Birds. That was back in the middle, or rather the onset of November, and then an OT win for the Birds on the latter end of a back-to-back that the 2 teams played on March 21st, and then the Birds beat them again on the 22nd in overtime, 4-3. That was the last time, or the last 2 times, I should say, that these 2 squads faced off, March 21st and 2nd, respectively. 2 teams had the same amount of wins on the regular season, 41 apiece, although Colorado authored the regular campaign with 5 more points than did the Birds, finishing in 2nd place in the Pacific. Not the first time that these 2 squads have faced off in the Calder Cup playoffs. We've got to go back to yonder inaugural year when the boys had the proverbial backs against the wall versus another good Eagles team. You remember that format was also 2-3, started in Colorado, then came back to Acrisure Arena. Birds returned to Palm Desert in that series down 1-2, and the only reason that they were able to extend it was that shorthanded goal. We talked about it in the most recent episode with Oscar Fisker Molgaard. Good timing to have OFM on this show, by the way. A shorthanded goal from Alexander True eventually led to a Birds victory in that fourth game. And then CV took down Colorado. I think it was 5-0 in that deciding Game 5. The last and only time, again, that the two squads have met in these Calder Cup playoffs. Colorado, very veteran team, very balanced team in many ways. They're not going to wow you with the metrics and the stats over the course of the season. They did have 6 players hit the 40-point mark. That was led by 70 points, which was good for second in the entire American League center Alex Barré-Boulet. Yeah, it's fun to say, but we don't want to say it that often. Again, second in the American Hockey League. Had a good season, by the way, in the games against Coachella Valley. 9 points did Alex have, including 4 goals across those 8 games against the Birds. In these Calder Cup playoffs, Colorado doing very, very well. Look, they swept San Diego 2-0 in the first round. They handled a really solid and high-scoring Henderson team in 4 games in the second round. That first round, to specify, a 9-1 scoring margin over the Gulls. The second round, a 14-6 scoring margin in Colorado's favor over the Silver Knights. Thusly, the Eagles are 5-1 in a mere 6 games across these Calder Cup playoffs. Alex Barré-Boulet continues to get it done alongside a couple others, co-leading the team with 7 points through those 6 games. Tristan Nielsen has had himself a fine playoff thus far for Colorado. He's got 5 goals. And the old savvy vet, TJ Tynan, he's got 7 points in these playoffs, led by 5 assists. Interesting to note, per those veterans, of course, Jason Megna, a part of this Eagles team, in concert with TJ Tynan, or I should say, when combined with TJ Tynan, a little bit of a mind blow, Megna plus Tynan equals 1,522 cumulative AAHL games. Trent Miner, he will be in net for Colorado. They do have a couple of fine net miners, but Miner has played every playoff game thus far. Had a good regular season, did Trent, 17-8, 5-1, with a really good 2.62 goals against. Even better, in the playoffs, he is 5-1 with just a sliver of a goals against of 1.10 and a very lofty save percentage of .953. Over the course of the regular season, as I said, the metrics aren't going to jump off the charts for Colorado. They were 9th in the AHL in goals. Solid. They had 237, just 2 more than did the Firebirds, again, in that regular season. Power play was 10th. The kill was 21st. Perhaps most notably is that while Colorado does have these veterans and they can score some goals, they were 7th, very good stat, in goals against over the course of the year, allowing just 198. Per some stats for our Firebirds, talked about OFM, Oscar Fisker Mulgard, 10 total points through these playoffs, leads not just the Firebirds, but the entire American Hockey League, as do the 6 goals for Oscar. He has scored in 6, he's had points rather, in 6 of the Birds' 8 playoff games. And again, both goals and total points leads the Calder Cup playoffs. Trio of players have 8 points apiece, but they are peaches. All of these guys, great guys. Yanni Newman, 8 points. That's 3 goals combined with 5 assists. Jagger Firkus, also 8 points, 3 goals and 4 assists in these playoffs. And then the hero from Game 5, J.R. Avon, we call him John Richard in the business, 8 points in these playoffs. He has 5 goals, including the game winner in Game 5. He also scored in Game 4. That is tied for second in the AHL Calder Cup playoffs. Those 5 goals for JR. Per the netminder, usually say netminders, but there is no plurality required here because Nikkei Coco has been the lone netminder for CV in these playoffs, played all 8 games, and namely done very, very well. Hey, in that overtime in Game 5, and even at the end of regulation in Game 5, Ontario was coming at the Birds with some serious push. Coco was able to keep them alive through the end of that third period, throughout that first overtime session. Some great saves, some acrobatic saves, some dramatic saves, some flopping around saves, all the saves we needed to get to that second overtime and the eventual win. Nikkei now 5-3 in these Calder Cup playoffs. Solid goals against of 2.74 and a pretty solid save percentage of .893. See more of Nikkei, of course, in the net this week for Birds versus Eagles in these Pacific Division Finals. All right, dudes, thanks to the sponsors of that Firebirds freeze frame segment, both the Ground Squirrel and the 29 Palms Beer Company, your high desert hockey homes. All that offered, all that prefaced, let's get to this playoff special episode, semi-media roundtable featuring Andrew John and Shad Powers from the Desert Sun, along with Firebirds forward John Hayden. All right, Firebirds flock, as prefaced, a unique format for this episode of the Desert Sun's Fire and Ice podcast. I guess it's one that in nearly 4 years, and like nearly 70 episodes, never tried before, but I think we're going to pull it off. We're calling it a semi-media roundtable because not all members are from the media. Those who are, and maybe we're going in order of importance here, we're saving the best for last. From the Desert Sun, sports and leisure editor Shad Powers, along with reporter Andrew John, joining yours truly. And perhaps most importantly, I think we can say for this time of year, decidedly most importantly, he's a native of Chicago, Illinois, 74th overall pick in the 2013 draft, along with 272 NHL games on his resume, 247 more in the American League, 223 of which, allow me to editorialize, a record franchise setting, 223 of which have been played for the Firebirds. One of only 3 players to appear across all 4 seasons of Firebirds hockey. He is third all-time in franchise goals, 5th in all-time points, and for good measure, 2nd in all-time franchise penalties, although he'll probably never catch Ian McKinnon in that metric. Number 15 on your scorecard, number 1 in your hearts. We welcome John Hayden to the Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, John.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. It's good to be here at the roundtable.
Good to have you joining us, man. I'll get it cooking, and then I'll turn to these learned Firebirds minds. Before looking forward to Colorado and the series ahead, let's look back just a little bit. In Game 5, Birds versus Ontario. Obviously, Firebirds went into that game with a lot of confidence and some momentum after a couple of great games at Acrisure Arena, only one of which, of course, resulted in victory, but strong play all around. Tell us about the Firebirds' mentality, mindset going into that deciding Game 5.
I think it was helpful having a little bit of adversity against Bakersfield to take a young group like us and to put ourselves in a position to have to win 2 in a row against Bakersfield. And then a little bit of adversity against Ontario. It's just been healthy for us. The team's been learning quick about playoff. We have a little bit of inexperience, but it doesn't seem like that. And it almost seems like after each series, we've become a little bit more veteran, and the young guys seem like they've been here all along the last 4 years, which is great. So it's been a good test, and I think those 2 series have prepared us well for a really solid Colorado team.
Shad Powers, have you a follow-up from the Ontario Game 5 or the Ontario series in general?
No, but that's interesting to hear you say. I was getting sort of 2023 playoff run vibes, the way you guys have had to win an elimination game at every turn so far. Are you feeling, you went through that in 2023 where you guys kept having to go the limit in series. Are you kind of feeling the same way about the way this has started?
Buys can be tough, so I think maybe we should consider it a blessing in disguise that we didn't end up first, especially with the young group. There's a lot of parity in our division, so we knew that there would be challenges regardless. But again, for our group to learn on the fly about the ups and downs of playoffs and how to stay comfortable in elimination games, I think will serve us well the next few rounds. So I think we have a lot of positive momentum to build on.
Andrew John, turn it to you, sir. Something to add, of course.
Yeah, John, just after the game, talking to Oscar Fisker-Molgaard, a guy who, is pretty modest, but was really beaming with a ton of confidence after that series, rightfully so. So just, as a veteran guy, how do you kind of manage the room and make sure that, you don't get too high after what was obviously a very, very exciting series for you guys?
I just think that preparation for each new series can be pretty grounding. You realize that there's new opponents, and you see the depth of lineups. So you, good or bad, you got to turn the page fairly quickly. We had a couple of days to reset. Tomorrow will be a good practice before Colorado, and it's nice to start at home. Just the nature of our league with travel schedules, could be a great advantage for us to start with 2 games at home.
John, the mention of Oscar Fisker Molgaard is a metric that certainly stands out thus far into these Calder Cup playoffs. I mean, dude has 10 points. He has 6 goals, both of which lead the entire league in both categories. But the number that stands out to me most is through a mere 2 series. You guys are 4-0 in elimination games and just 8 playoff games thus far. Rather amazing, man, in such a dearth of games to already have 4 times facing elimination and to stave it off each and every time. What is it about the makeup of this group that you think accomplished that?
You can't do that without good goaltending. So our Poco's been awesome, and our depth at the position in general is great. Vic's been doing a great job too. So even a guy like Laffer, right? So there's just a lot of goaltending depth, and then just young confidence. Again, like I said, building off the first wins against Bakersfield. It's really comfortable. A lot of fans don't get to see what it's like during intermissions, but when we're there between periods, talking about how we've done it before, there's just a sort of calm that I think helps guys go out and play with more confidence than pressure, if that makes sense.
Shad Powers, baton pass to you, sir.
One guy I wanted to ask you about, John, that we don't talk about, I haven't given enough credit maybe, is Coach Laxdal. I guess my question for you is playoff Laxdal different than regular season Laxdal in any way, pregame, postgame, in-game?
Well, I think Lax is a championship coach. He's won multiple championships, so he's had a lot of success for good reason. He's coaching the NHL, and I don't know if I would say there's a stark difference. He's consistent, and he manages the game very well during a game. So I'd say that's one of his strengths as a coach. It's been great the last couple of years with Lax and our staff in general. And we've definitely been prepared well for each series.
Andrew, John, your thoughts and question for John Hayden.
Yeah, John, you had mentioned the advantage of starting out with 2 games at home. That's something that we've talked about as well the last couple of days here. Just the benefit of, if you guys can manage to win, a couple games here, there's tremendous pressure on Colorado going into the backside. Of course, you want to just take it a game at a time, but going in, do you like the format of starting at home as opposed to having the back end schedule kind of like they do in the American Hockey League? Is so much different than the NHL?
Yeah, it's different. I know a lot of it depends on distance traveled. It is what it is, right? With the 3-game, 5-game. I mean, I'm a fan of 7-game series. I think that's the way it should be, but just we have to control what we can. But definitely an advantage to start at home, in my opinion, and we're definitely looking forward to having two to start.
Let us segue into what I'm calling the potpourri section of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Shad Powers, Andrew John from the Desert Sun, and John Hayden, Firebirds frontliner, is our guest. I don't want to take over the reins entirely on this program. So, Shad, I'm going to go right back to you, sir. Your next question or subject matter for John Hayden.
Well, I wanted to ask about that 2-game series you guys played at Colorado in March, the most recent time you've played those guys. Obviously, you won both games up there. Do you think that is going to give you sort of a good feeling when you guys do go up there for games 3 and possibly 4 and 5 that you've had success so recently up there?
It helps, especially to have one in that building. I would say Both teams have new rosters, a lot of different faces. So yes, there's some added confidence having won in that building this year, but at the same time, it's like us players and the coaches have been preaching all year. Short-term memory is important. So sort of business at hand. Take care of our home games and go from there.
Andrew John, question for John Hayden. I keep saying Andrew John and then John Hayden. Maybe it's a weird segue, but I think we all know what we mean.
Yeah, John, you had mentioned just the strength of the goaltending in this series. Coco has obviously played phenomenal. He didn't start the playoffs great with that first game against Bakersfield, but has just been so good since then. Can you speak to just the benefit of having someone in the net who's just brings that level of confidence to the group?
Yeah, it's consistent and across all leagues. Goalies just can provide so much, and it's hard to win without elite goaltending. And he's elite. He's proved it at the NHL level too. So, and then Vic as well. So it's nice to have those guys back there and adds confidence to the group. And no matter the situation, there's no concern from us. It's just it's a boost having those guys.
Shad Powers, in lieu of
And
hearing
they're
the
great
voice.
kids. I
Go
will
ahead.
add, like both those. Sorry, they're great kids. And so it's fun to be around those two, Vic and Coco. So the off ice part's important too. And just from a culture standpoint, I'd say that those guys definitely are value adds.
Shad Powers, turn it back to you. Another question for John.
Okay, yeah, John, I wanted to ask about the way you guys have played so well on the road. I assume that has a lot to do with the camaraderie. Is there something sort of galvanizing about a road trip for a hockey team?
Definitely. Colorado will be different, probably even more galvanizing because Ontario is day trips. So we actually would just stay in our own beds and head there the day of the game. But yes, you're right. There's a lot of mojo on the road. Guys are getting into different routines, going out to more meals together, and it helps. So Colorado will have a lot of that.
Andrew John, questions on travel or perhaps something different for John Hayden.
Yeah, I mean, just John, I wanted to ask you basically what coming off of this, really, really exceptional series you guys just played. What's a couple of things that you guys feel like you're doing better this time of year than earlier in the season? Seems like the team is, just playing a little more with more consistency. Some of the younger guys have really grown up. What is it that you see in the room there?
Lax has mentioned before that once you're 72 games in the season now, 80 plus, rookies aren't really rookies anymore. They have a full season under their belt. So I'd say that some of the anything that you would attribute to youth is sort of out the window. Guys just getting comfortable and special teams getting more comfortable. So sort of like we've had to face elimination games and get over those humps and develop from there. It's the same with where we're at now. Just having learned from the regular season.
John, my next question for you, and a lot of times, I'll be honest, these kind of compare or contrast questions, they don't necessarily go over all that great, but you have the unique lens of being a part of this team in parts of 4 different years. You've seen different narratives play out, you've seen different rosters play out. Is there something about this team that you feel is uniquely different or special from the 3 previous versions of the Firebirds that we've enjoyed?
Well, definitely the youth. I mean, what's our average age and what has it been in the past? It's something like 21 or 22 right now, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the beginning of the year, yeah.
So I think we have 3 veterans on the team. It's just a totally different dynamic. And even last year we had more veteran guys, so that's different. And like all year, we've wanted to use that as a positive, right? And it's really our choice. It's a mindset. Like, is that going to be a bug or a feature? So it's been a feature to this point, and I think it'll continue to be one. And yeah, I know that's probably the most straightforward answer, but it's true. It's just a different feel when the group's so young, and we've had fun with it.
Shad Powers, as we start wrapping this up, you got one or potentially two more questions for John Hayden.
Yeah, I wanted to go talk about the penalty kill, which has been great, and even more specifically, not taking very many penalties. That was definitely a secret to success, it seemed like, in that Ontario series. In fact, I don't believe you allowed any power play goals the whole all 5 games. Is that a conscious effort of the playoffs to take less risks, in the world of creating penalties, or is that just a product of they don't call as many penalties? I don't know. Is that something you guys actually talk about for the playoffs?
Definitely a combination. The whistles get put away to an extent, and I think that's the way it should be. You don't want soft calls. I think the more 5-on-5, the better. And I think our team did a really good job of not crossing the line. I think we have some physical guys that know the right time and place to finish checks or to be involved after whistles. And against Ontario, I thought the discipline was excellent.
Andrew, John, to you, sir.
Speaking of physical guys, John, I know you and Jacob Melanson have worked together now a few years, and you guys have been friends. And I was just curious, after he spent a good chunk of the season with Seattle, if you could speak to just his influence coming back. And it seems like his presence has been a nice little boost for you guys, even in even for a team it was already playing well without him.
He's done such a good job. I mean, we were roommates his rookie year on the road, and he's just done such a good job of identifying his role. And the way he plays it's hard to find guys that hit like that, still see the game well, still can play with skill and play with skilled players. Yeah, definitely proud of the way he's progressed. And when he's been down here, he's been dangerous. He's physical and can also be very productive. So the growth's been tremendous, and he's got a bright future.
John, we'll wrap up with this. If you were a media member, we typically conclude with predictions all around, but I think I know better than to ask you for that kind of specificity. Nonetheless, I guess I will personally say that for what you guys have accomplished, we sensed, and when I say the royal we, I don't think I'm alone, that there was a sense that this team, you touched upon it, and there was a little bit of a roller coaster year, but more than a time or two, this team touched upon and tapped into its true potential to be playing what is arguably your best hockey at the most important time of the year is very encouraging. Sky seems the limit for this team. Again, in lieu of the prediction, I'll just ask you a little compare and a little contrast from Ontario rather into what we're going to see with the Colorado Eagles.
Both good teams. Again, we talked about how there's a ton of parity in our division. We've prepared against elite lines against Bakersfield and Ontario, and it's going to be the same thing. They have some elite players, and we have to be ready for that. But like you said, we seem to be peaking at a great time, and we have a lot of confidence. And I have a good feeling about the locker room and the vibes that we have right now.
Shad Powers, closing question for John Hayden.
I thought you were going to put me on the spot and have me make a prediction.
You can do that too. Feel free. Predict away.
Well, I like to hear what John just said, that the locker room is confident. We can be confident as media members or fans watching, but to hear that, like, in the locker room, there's sort of increasing confidence. I mean, they were always confident, I'm guessing, but that's encouraging to hear. That makes me feel pretty confident about this next series as well. I guess my question is, though, for John, is when you're breaking down film or whatever of an opposing team, what are you personally looking at? Are you looking at like specific, individuals on the other team that might be going against you defensively, or schemes? I mean, what kind of things are you breaking down in your mind when you're watching film?
Some of it depends on matches. We've had at times some hard matchups, and then other times we've kind of just rolled 4 lines. And of course, it depends if you're home or on the road. For me, I like watching or at least like understanding the defensive zone systems that teams play, because then it can dictate some of the ozone possession, which when I'm at my best, there's a lot of that, and just understanding if it's man on man or what type of center reads they have. So those are some of the things, but generally Lax and the staff just do a general prep for us, and then once we get that out of the way, we can really just focus on ourselves.
Andrew, John, closing question for John Hayden.
Not really a question. I'll just say, John, it's been incredibly fun to watch the growth of this team over the course of the season. I don't think we've ever. Last year it was another young group, which grew, of course, and that was fun as well. But I feel like this year it's just been a next level of the growth that we've seen from some of these guys and from the group as a whole. And so we're all really looking forward to seeing how the next round shakes out for you guys.
I appreciate that, Andrew. Thanks so much. Shad, been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for your time. And of course, there's no cheering in the press box, John, but I think we can all cumulatively say, go Birds and go get those Eagles, man.
I appreciate it. Hopefully my phone stays cool.
Let's all keep it cool in 110. Gents, appreciate all of your time. Look forward to the series ahead.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, John.
Thanks.
All right, Firebirds friends, going to wrap it up for this special playoff edition episode of the Desert Suns Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. So appreciative of your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. As long as the Firebirds go, so does Fire and Ice. Equal gratitude goes to this episode's guests, our fellows from the Desert Sun newspaper, both Shad Powers and Andrew John. Special thanks, of course, go to John Hayden, Firebirds forward, for jumping in at the semi-media roundtable, Per the Desert Sun, you can find all the local news, events, sports, politics coverage, festivals. Firebirds, certainly get it online at desertsun.com, or heck, just go out and get yourself a physical, tangible newspaper. People still do that, by the way. Desert Willow Golf Resort, also right here in sunny Palm Desert, California, home to the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. Get those tee times online today for either or both courses at desertwillow.com. And hey, when you're on there poking around, be sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy for all your swing, lesson, tutelage, and knowledge needs. So, programming note, Desert Willow, they host so many great events and tournaments. They do so many wonderful things on their property. A particularly interesting one taking place next week. Be mindful if you're looking to get out, because they've got the Division III Women's National Championships taking place over several days. I want to say it's Tuesday through Saturday. It's taking place on both courses. I think it's the first time in like a half century these championships specifically have been played west of Texas. So hey, if you're looking to get out over at DW, as we all are often want to do, as we all should want to do, be mindful of that scheduling. But again, check it all out at desertwillow.com. Our Firebirds Freeze Frame segment sponsors, both our friends at the Ground Squirrel, that's GRNDSQRL, and the 29 Palms Beer Company. Great to have those folks on board this season. Those are your high desert hockey homes, by the way, and of course, up at 29 Palms and the 29 Palms Beer Company. Just as a reminder, that's where you can go to watch every Firebirds home game televised, whether it be home or away. You can editorialize and specify that is every Firebirds playoff televised game right now. Great place to check out some Birds hockey with one of those phenomenal beers that they craft right on site. Per the schedule again, friends, for the Pacific Division Finals, CV versus the Colorado Eagles gets underway this week, this Wednesday night, May 13th. Birds hosting Eagles at Acrisure Arena in this best-of-5 series, 7 p.m. start. Game 2 this Friday, May 15th, also a 7 p.m. puck drop. The 2-3 format then shifts to Colorado. Game 3 is Sunday, May 17th, 5 p.m. Pacific start time. Moving to the asterisk, Game 4, if needed, would be next Wednesday, May 20th, 6 p.m. Pacific start. Game 5 also, if needed, next Friday, May 22nd, a 6 p.m. puck drop. Those looking for tickets, of course, can do so at cvfirebirds.com. Want to see as many butts in those Acrisure Arena seats as possible as we look to see if the Birds can extend the season yet again, make it back to those Western Conference Finals. Until then, thanks everybody again for tuning in. As always, be well.